Marilyn's schoolmate, Peter Pan-collared little Linda Berg, marries Harry Macklowe. Over the course of their 50-plus-year marriage, Linda, with her intelligent eye for art, and her husband, amassed a world-class art collection that was housed in their entire seventh-floor apartment of the Plaza Hotel. After 57 years of marriage, Harry announces that he no longer wants to be married to Linda. Now, what to do with this enormous collection of art? Join us as our very own Marilyn Sorkin tells us the story of Linda and Harry Macklowe and the auction of some 35 lots of art pieces, which sold for over $600 million.
Welcome. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a very special lesson for you today because, as the world is, I'm involved.
You're involved?
I'm involved with the lesson today in the respect that I know from 67 years ago, Mrs. Macklowe, the first Mrs. Macklowe. We're talking about Linda Macklowe and Harry Macklowe. Harry Macklowe is a huge builder in New York City, and he married my friend Linda Macklowe. Her name then was Linda Berg, and this is my yearbook from high school.
Oh, God.
It's 67 years old.
Young, 67 years
And
young.
do you know what this means? Con brio. Remember, I went to music and art high school. With zest. I mean, it's a musical term, and that was the name of our yearbook, and there I am. And if we open the book, people, and we turn to my page, and we see Marilyn Brody, and we see Linda Berg. I want you to look at this woman here, this little girl with the Peter Pan collar.
I love that.
Where are you?
I'm at the
She's
top,
up at the top here.
You're
born with the gift of
I
laughter.
always said you were the top.
And there is Linda Berg at the bottom, right here. Now I want to tell you about Linda Berg. I lived in the Bronx. Linda Berg lived in the Bronx, but she made it to the concourse. Now, if you know anything about New York, if you made it to the concourse, it was the Champs-Élysées of the Bronx. And her father was a doctor. Second, Linda was very smart. She graduated at 16, where the rest of us fools graduated at 18. So she went to the SP classes. You remember those two? Howie remembers those two. So I remember Linda Berg, and she said, best wishes, whatever. And that was the last I ever saw of her. Then as the years went on, I was watching a man named Harry Macklowe and realized that my friend Linda Berg had married Harry Macklowe, and together they owned a fortune in art because Linda, who was an art major, loved art. She ended up as a trustee at the Metropolitan, at the Modern, and any other place in New York you can think of. And Harry and Linda became the top collectors in New York of art. And then Harry said, after 57 years, I don't want you anymore. And I want a divorce. The problem was the fortune they owned was the art. So let's read a little bit about that. I'm just going to give you a quickie little look at how they lived. And it's just such a wonderful visual that I had to put it out for you. At night, the Plaza Hotel glows like a mega yacht on the high seas. On the 7th floor, one sparkling row of windows stretches the entire block. We know the size of that hotel. Overlooking Central Park's treetops, Fifth Avenue, and the fountain in the center of Grand Army Plaza. I'll show you a picture in a second. For years, those in the know could look up through those windows and glance works by Pablo Picasso, Mark Rothko, Andy Warhol, Jackson Pollock, hanging on the walls, a collection of masterpieces resting comfortably in their castle. What they did was they bought a whole block of apartments for $52 million. And by the time we're talking now, like the last 20 years, they amassed so much art, they needed a place to put it. So they took this row, they emptied it completely of everything that was in it, and all they left up were walls. And in this row are all the paintings that they collected together. Now, bought over 5 decades by real estate tycoon Harry Macklowe and his wife Linda, this world-class collection used to greet prominent guests at exclusive cocktail parties like the Louders, you know, people like that. It was a setting that once inspired a major museum benefactor to turn to her billionaire husband and exclaim, "And I thought we were rich." So that's the beginning, and let me just show you a picture here of Harry and Linda Macklowe, top right. There's little Linda. And if you look below, it's the Plaza Hotel, so they bought a whole floor and put their art there, 7th floor, and that's where they had many, many cocktail parties to see the art. It also had 1 bedroom and a bathroom, but the entire floor was the gallery. Okay, that's just the beginning. I wanted just to tell you that. So what's happening here now? Well, what's happening is Harry says to Linda after 57 years, it was a contentious marriage, but Linda was the brains behind it all. They married young, but she was smarter than Harry, and she said, we're going to buy and sell real estate. And you know what that means. She was the guiding light behind him at the beginning, and as it went on and he became richer and richer, she pushed herself into art. The other thing they had was another home in the Hamptons and a yacht. They loved to sail. So their arguments, which were constant, were kind of softened when they got out on that boat. But it seems to me that it was a contentious marriage, and what held them together was the art. Linda had an eye. Harry liked to go to auctions and say, 3 mil, made him feel good. He was that kind of a guy. He was a show-off. But Linda knew what was worth what. And as this collection amassed, it came to over 60 pieces of art. And here comes the time now when Harry says, it's over. What he hadn't told her is he had a mistress for 2 years that he had been putting up in New York City in another apartment. Harry also built the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. This is the building. It's 432 Park Avenue. In the whole hemisphere, this is the tallest building. And Harry did something terrible with the building. I'm just going to preface it. If you look at the top right picture, there's a picture of Harry and his new wife. They put Patricia Landau, little French chickie, who could be his daughter. She's 60s. So my daughter's age almost. And Harry's 85. He put on the side of the building a 40-foot piece that was a print on mesh to show off him and his new wife. Poor Linda. Poor Linda. The horror of doing such a thing like that to her. That's what he did. And that's the building. That's the plaza. And if you look at the top picture, you notice Linda looks like a little old lady. She didn't have anything much done. She is who she is. And I guess Harry said, oh well. Oh well, I'll show you what I mean right now.
Question?
Certainly, certainly.
You knowledgeably used the words, the tallest building
Yes, in the
Western
Hemisphere.
Hemisphere.
Yes.
Weren't there a couple of others?
No, that's it. I said Western Hemisphere. I didn't say Eastern Hemisphere. Yeah, of course there are others. There are some in Dubai.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is the Western Hemisphere. That is,
Talking about an apartment house,
oh yeah.
not a regular. It's an apartment house.
It's a pen,
Oh,
you can, if you go to New York,
You mean it's the tallest apartment house?
just stand there and look up, you see
And
this.
not the tallest
Not the tallest
building.
building, it's.
Well,
Okay.
it's the residential, sorry, Walter's
Oh,
right. It's
okay,
the
better.
tallest residential building.
That makes
in-
sense,
Yeah,
yes.
It's the residential.
yeah, this is
the
just for,
tallest residential.
these are apartments, Vera.
Thank you, I didn't have
Good
that
point,
adjective.
thanks, Walter, good point.
You know, I'm thinking of
Yeah,
other large.
oh, no, no, no,
buildings,
this
there are
is
a lot
where
of them.
people with
Right.
billions are living.
Including the Empire State Building even, and the
Oh,
others.
God, it's gotta be
Right.
50 stories. I often think of the elevators failing and how the hell are you gonna get down? But that is, and this is the bottom of the building where Harry put the picture of
Oh, it's
his.
on the bottom.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
this
you
is
can
on the
see it from
street level.
I was
On Broadway,
wondering,
when you go on Broadway, you can see
you've
it.
seen it, you've seen it?
Here's a picture of Harry and his wife Linda, and if you noticed, they shattered the glass because it's a shattered marriage.
Who shattered the glass?
This was, he's no gem. Wait, he's no gem. But this was a magazine picture. I thought it was quite apropos. And now here's Harry with little Miss Chicky. This is his new wife. Okay, in her early 60s, yes. And Linda didn't know that he had been keeping her in an apartment in New York for many, many, many years. Okay, so we've got to the point now where she realizes, Linda does, it's over. And what are they gonna do? Linda wants the art. So they got the yacht, they got the house in the Hamptons, they have everything. They have apartments everywhere, they have homes everywhere. But to tell you the truth, where is their fortune? Where is all their money?
Plaza.
In the art, which is very interesting. It's worth so much money. And that's why I wanted to bring that to you today. And so the idyllic life at the plaza ends, and he has this picture that was superimposed on mesh, the nerve of him, put on the sides of 432 Park Avenue because he was so in love. How do you do that to your wife?
Because he didn't
did.
care.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
No, he was in love. He
He
was
did
in
this
love.
before he got divorced or after?
Oh, no. This was after. He got divorced, but he had been keeping her a couple of years. He met her through a French charity, French Jew.
Say it
Okay?
again, what?
Through a French.
Through a
Jew.
French charity. She's a Jewish woman. Her name is Landau, Patricia Landau. And Linda's always, as I told you, been interested in art. And it's amazing that a couple like this, after all those years, decided he'd had enough. After 57 years, the Macklowes called it quits. Harry left Linda for a younger woman, and Linda filed for the divorce. The ensuing legal battle was so bitter, it kept the octogenarians. Now, I object to that. No, I object to that. They had it right back. It kept the octogenarians in the public eye for 5 years as the courts tried to work out how to split an array of assets worth close to $2 billion. Now, here is my little Linda friend. True, when we were kids, she wore her Peter Pan collars and her cashmere sweaters. She lived on the concourse. The rest of us had regular little sweaters. Okay. Linda was a sharp little girl. Little, as you can see in the pictures with Harry. And what their fortune was in was, it ranged from Israeli bonds to Unfurled. Unfurled is the name of this amazing yacht. Of course, it's the biggest and best you can get. That's the name of the boat. It cost $23 million. It should be. Now it's come to this. The treasures are being sold to the highest bidder at Sotheby's in a two-part auction. The first 35 lots, 35 pieces, because they included sculpture, paintings, and whatever, brought in $676 million. That's only the first half. And you know these pieces. And it was a blockbuster sale. Why? I'll tell you why. Because there's so much money out there now, and these people have nowhere to put it, that the range of prices for the pieces I'm going to show you is so ridiculous until you realize that art is now a commodity. It's an investment. And you won't believe some of the stuff. And the rest in May. So this is only half. This has been looked at, talked about now for years. It's the height of spite is what Harry did when he plastered the 42-foot-high billboard of him and his wife Patricia Landau on the Park Avenue building, where the two exes owned apartments. They had apartments in that building. How do you do that? Well, Harry did it. So their biggest asset are real estate holdings, the Plaza Hotel, a house in East Hampton, many, many ways. But the artwork is the biggest. 65 paintings and sculpture, etc., etc., etc. And I'm going to show you those pieces now. And this headline got me. It said, they got attention by throwing their money into the art market. They had capital to deploy, and they deployed it well, indeed. Now, they made friends with all these artists and dealers, and I'm sure that what they paid for some of these pieces is not what you see that they got. You will see that in a minute. Linda and Harry were 20 and 21 years old when they married in 1959. Both came from middle-class Jewish families, and neither had significant assets entering the marriage. He was a college dropout who founded Macklowe Properties in the 60s and turned it into one of the city's largest real estate empires. This is good, guys. In 2003, he bought the General Motors building for $1 billion, record at the time. In 2008, he was forced to sell his crown jewel to avoid bankruptcy during the financial crisis. Though Macklowe Properties still owns 432 Park Avenue. I'm sorry, it's 96 stories. 96 stories. Tallest residential building in the Western Hemisphere. And here's the best part. Linda grew up going to music and art high school, and that's here. New York City Museums and the Art Students League. And she curated sculpture by the 70s. She's a smart girl. So she knew a great deal about art. And then they started the collection. But divorce, as I said, was terrible. Let's start. You saw this. This is Harry and Linda. And they're standing in front of two pieces that were sold. One of them was a Frida Kahlo. And who knows whose work the other?
Jackson Pollock.
No.
It's not a Jackson.
No. Come on now. This piece. You can't tell from here, I know. Who was that kid who died of an overdose whose work?
The 27-year-old or something?
Yeah,
He was
what's
very
his
young.
name? Remember?
Oh, I can't
I
remember
don't
his
know his
name.
name.
Basquiat.
Oh, Basquiat.
So they had the vision to buy stuff like this before it really became what it became. Now, brought a few pieces for you to look at. This is part of the 35 pieces that were sold, but I want you to notice a couple things. If you look at the top piece right here, and this is a Rothko. Now, it's not represented here well. The colors are exquisite. But look at it. It's just 3 colors that have been overpainted and overpainted with colors underneath coming through. It's the highest ever for a Rothko, and that sold for $82 million. Come on, guys. $82 million. One piece of art, a Rothko. This is what I said to you, that's so much money. And it was bought by somebody from the East. They don't tell you who. All of it's done by telephone, and that's all they would say. It was an Eastern customer. Who knows? Could have been China, could have been Saudi Arabia, don't know. So that was the highest piece sold. Believe it or not, the Giacometti, which is just a hanging sculpture. That's the second one at the top, called Le Nez. You understand what Le Nez means?
The nose?
The nose. The nose. Look at that piece. It's not that big. It's a bit of a cage with the nose coming through the barrier that the cage would have made. But look at what that one for. $78 million? Think about what we're talking about. $78 million for a piece like this. So this is the kind of collection they amassed. Side Twombly. Now this is huge. This would cover that wall there. Now, picture this in that apartment at the plaza. This piece was done in 2007 and it got fetched $58 million. So, and of course, you people who know Frida, they owned this piece. This is a beautiful piece because in it is Diego. He's in her forehead. And when she painted this, which was one of her last paintings, he was having an affair with another woman, and she knew that. He had one after another. But she loved him.
The arms on that remind me of the arms of the clown
No, that's just a curator. I'm sorry, that's just a fellow holding the painting. I painted, I glued that over.
That reminded me
No.
because he did another one that almost looked like the Picasso with the clown with
No,
different things.
right, no, I just glued this on
Oh,
here
my
because there's a
goodness.
smaller one under it and it's in
Oh,
a.
for goodness sake. But
But-
it sure looked like that.
No, it's the painting. I wanted you to get a sense of what it looked like. And this was the highest ever for a Latin American artist.
Wow.
And that went for $3 million. But
Lately, the last one went for 10 times that.
is
Yes.
that amazing?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
one of her Diego on My Mind.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
Diego on my
series.
mind,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
They bought, this was done in 1949. But the Warhol of Maryland, 9 Marilyns it's called, and there's only one good one, if you look carefully. The others are all a little indistinct, and the best one is the middle one, in the center row. That's the perfect one he put in there, yes.
You talk about the Andy Warhol one, at the place that we went, okay? They're having an Andy Warhol exhibit that you.
Right, that's right.
In other words, coming up, so you.
You're talking about the Norton? Yeah.
No,
No,
the
Jupiter.
in Jupiter, and to
Oh,
Custer,
that's
where we went
right,
to
where
the
we
light-
went,
and we
and
went to
yes,
the-
to
that's
Custer.
right.
And there's gonna be a whole display
Absolutely.
of his stuff, if you're interested.
Unbelievable. 9 Marilyns, and it went for $47 million.
How long ago was this?
This happened last Monday,
For all of these?
yes. But here's the thing. So this sale, let's look at one more, and that's a Picasso, and it's a standing figure. And here behind it is the first piece, the Rothko. And this went for $26 million. Now, so the final price for this select group, as I told you, was $676 million. But there's another 35 to be sold. It's only half. And that's going to be sold in May. Up to the present time, and let me read this to you. It was the art collection to beat all others, with an impressive number of blue chip works. And now it's sold. Real estate developer Harry Macklowe and his ex-wife Linda's 5-decade trove of 35 masterpieces brought in $676 million on Monday in a court-ordered auction. They could not agree, so the court said you have to sell it. They couldn't agree who was going to get what. So the court said, really? You're going to have to sell it. So they both lost. The art is gone. Okay.
They didn't keep anything?
Well, they're not going to be able to. He ordered everything to be sold. Sotheby's estimated the sale would bring in $400 million. It far exceeded expectations and set the tone for the current market in the world of high-priced art. So it's a big, big market. But this auction was the first of 2 to unload the Macklowe pieces and included post-war to contemporary works. That's what you're seeing. Last century, late, and contemporary works.
How much does Sotheby's get for this?
Good question. I think they get a hell of a lot, Walter. So when they give you a number of a piece, you could figure that maybe what's in there is the fee for Sotheby's. So that's not the real number, because they get part of everything
Who
they
gets all
sold.
the money then? When it's sold, do they split it? Is it,
Oh, I don't know what the next step is.
oh,
That's a good question. But Walter's question was, how does Sotheby's get their
They get a percentage.
they get a percentage, right? So again, don't know what this number really means for the person who has bought the art.
About a 20, you know, they negotiate. But
Absolutely.
it's at least 20.
Oh, my God. I mean, it's got to be
Sotheby's,
more.
I mean, you're not talking about a
Absolutely.
gallon
Now,
of Berkshire.
there's 30 more left in this collection. It will break the record for the most expensive art collection ever sold at auction. This is, whose do you think was the most expensive ever sold? And I'll tell you that it was done in 2018 at Christie's. What name would come to mind?
The
Oh, that
little,
family
the
of
picture.
No, no, no,
the
no.
little one?
The
No.
little Jesus.
No, I want, no,
Oh,
no,
wasn't
a
that one?
collection.
Yeah.
What name comes to mind to you as a name in this country?
Andy Warhol.
No, 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 I'm.
Made of.
Steve Wynn.
No, no, keep going.
Oh,
Go
oh.
back a little bit more to a family that has been in existence in the oil business for a long time.
Getty? The Getty collection?
Rockefeller.
oh, you knew that.
David Rockefeller. His art sold, his personal art, for $835.1 million in 2018. So, here is already 676. We got 30 more. It's going to surpass that number.
So let me ask you.
Yes,
So they each get close to $1 billion.
correct.
All right, what the hell do you do with that?
What the hell do you do with that?
One more on.
I mean, I'm saying, where do you put that money?
Charitable giving. You
Yeah.
stop collecting for your own ego and you start giving the money where it really should
Do you
be.
think that that's what
Susan,
they'll help?
was it Susan Sternberg or whoever had the big divorce and her, Bezos' wife.
Yes, she's
giving
giving
it
away.
She's doing the honorable, honest thing. What are you gonna do, line your coffin?
Marilyn, were there any children?
There are 2 children, and here's a great story, guys.
Oh,
There are 2 grown children. The son is named William. He married Tory Burch, who we know, in 1993, and divorced Tory Burch in 1993.
Birch?
Tory Burch is a big-time designer. Handbags, a billionaire in their own right. But did you hear what I just said? He married in 1993, and I couldn't find any more information, and divorced in 1993. What does that mean? That it didn't work in a couple of months?
I guess not.
Guess
It
not.
was a weekend in.
I guess so.
They were legitimate for a weekend.
I really said, wait a minute, it can't be. And I looked it up, and that's what it said, 1993. Divorced 1993. The daughter is also married, but nobody's saying anything about anything. And Harry is in love, and this is what he needed to do. To do such a thing as this is not to be believed. So they have no art, but they have a hell of a lot of money, and they're now fighting over the apartment in the plaza that's now empty, and they're fighting over the yacht, and they're fighting over the Hamptons estate. Well, what Harry did is he bought another one next door. So he'll say to her, Linda, you can have that one. What kind of people are these is I don't know, but I just wanted you to see what the art market has turned into. It's now where people are putting their money. What else is there?
It isn't, I can't live without the Rothko. It will mean something so much to me. I must have it because I've got to see it every day. It's not love of art.
No,
It's pure
collection.
crass
Yes.
monies.
greed. That's what,
Gluttony for money.
yeah.
That's right.
Money.
And out
Howie,
and out
we
doing
can't
the
hear
next
you.
guy. In other words, I have a Rothko or I have a Picasso.
Right.
And interestingly enough,
Yeah, maybe 5%.
Whatever,
And I
I
forgot, oh, wait a minute.
don't know what the commission is.
interestingly enough, the Picasso was
Whether
one
it's
of
the
the
buyer
cheapest
or
ones.
The buyer. It's added on to the cost of the sale. When the guy drops the gavel, the buyer.
So you're saying it's not coming in?
What, I'm sorry? No.
Yes,
No.
yes, I've been there.
And the Chagall windows?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but this is,
Unbelievable.
you missed the beginning. This is just about the Macklowe family, Elaine. So I wanted you to understand that this is the kind of world we live in, where there are people like this. But this little girl started with me.
Did you ever keep up with her?
Nobody did in our class. I am in touch with a lot of these people, most of them at this age
And
are
I'm
in
no Harry
Florida.
Macklowe.
And what, honey?
I'm no Harry Macklowe.
Oh, really? Oh.
You're better.
It's no Harry
Now,
Macklowe.
now you tell her? I mean, you had all these years to tell
Were you
her.
good friends with her in school?
Yeah, we were all friends, you know, especially since we all came from the Bronx, but there was a level of caste system, you have to understand.
Yeah.
When I met the girls from Manhattan who lived on West End Avenue, I wasn't in their class. I did get to a few of their apartments. I've told some of you that when I walked into some of these places, I couldn't find my way out because there were so many doors. And I lived in a 3-room apartment, one door. And of course, when I came home from one of those visits and I said, "Ma, we're really poor." Here I was, 14, and she said, "Sit down and eat."
Good for her.
Okay, that was the most important thing at that time. Yeah, they lived on West End Avenue with the buttons in the floor, you know. You know what we're talking about. Some of them became artists, but most of the people, and was a wonderful experience for a little girl from the Bronx to be exposed to music and art as I was, and this way. But when I saw that this was Linda Berg, I said, "Oh my God, go no. He was a nothing. She made him, and now he's busy."
So did any of your other students
that's
I want you to see
in your
this.
class become prominent in
Yes,
that?
they became prominent in things in the theater, music. One fellow, I forgot his name right at
We
the
have
moment.
Diane Carroll.
Diane Carroll and Billy D. Williams and Peter, Paul, and Mary. It was Peter went to school with us. His sister Elena. It was a high school. Now it's combined with the High School of Performing Arts. So they left the castle, which was up in Harlem, right on the grounds of Uptown City College, which it looked like a castle, and moved to a new building near Lincoln Center. And now it's a combined, imagine a book this old. But what I wanted you to see, if you could, remember, you have your yearbooks, was that this is all the art of the kind of stuff we did. But it was a building that looked like this. It was a castle, and we called it the Castle on the Hill. Remember when we wore bobby socks? Remember? There's us coming in the doors in the morning, and the violins. And I have to tell you, the people I went to school with, many of them were music students. They all are here. My friend Vera has a good friend who went to school with me, and most of them have a grand piano. And when we get together down here, somebody plays, and I'm back in school.
Did Diane Weiss go to the school you were?
I don't know, I'd have to look up. So I wanted you to see what's happening in the art world today, and the Macklowes, Linda, and now Harry and Patricia are without their art, all gone, because they could not come together and decide, you get this, you get this. How
That's
life
not
goes.
unique.
Once
though.
you assign a
That's not
monetary
unique.
value to something, it ceases being an emotional thing and it becomes crass.
Can you imagine
Amazing.
sitting there? There was a Pollock, I mean, I could have brought the rest of them, but my God. And some of them you would say, what? There's one that's a white canvas with slashes. That's art?
White on white.
That's art?
You told that joke a long time ago.
Well, the one with the
Yeah.
the dot,
The
absolutely.
underpatched.
Yeah, that's a great joke because exactly the same thing has happened. You know, that great joke. Guy gets a lot of money. I want to buy art. So he goes to the big shot in the neighborhood who's selling art, and he says, well, I have a wonderful piece, and there it is. Plain background, all one color, and it's a dot. Okay, he buys it. 2 years later, he says, I want more. Goes back to the same guy, and he says, I got that same artist. He said, I have a new piece. He says, really? He says, yeah, come and I'll show you. And there it is. Now it's got 3 dots.
2 dots.
2 or 3 could have met. And he looks, and now he's a connoisseur, and he says, it's 2 unga pachkit.
You know what that means? Yeah.
Oh my God. What, Howie?
Overdone.
You know, I know. She knew, Linda knew. Harry just liked to go like that.
He raised his power.
He loved to be in, you know, that situation. So, this was the story of a little girl from the Bronx who became very famous for her art collection. I don't know how things are. Wasn't too much mention about whose side the children are on. He must have, his children must be the same age as his new wife. Doesn't that make that nice?
Well, thank you, Mary.
Oh, thank you.
You made our morning.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And here's Patricia. I just love the shoes. I just love them. She makes me feel alive. That's what he says. You know, I'm alive again. All right.
How did your wife like you when you were walking around dead?
But he had kept her secret for 2 years. She was living in a posh apartment and never told
Not a secret.
Linda.
I can't believe she didn't know.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
How do you not know?
You
I
know,
don't
but
know.
he's not
You mean when he's
unique.
not home at
When
night?
He's not unique.
I have to work late at the office and he
Right,
doesn't
I
have
gotta
an
work late at the
office.
office, I didn't.
Sherry said he's not unique. But we never hear of women who become very rich and do this to their men, do we? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's look into that.
Women don't share their story.
I guess they don't leave their men as much as the men leave the women for younger women, right, Walter? What do you think?
We're smarter than that.
Yes. Well, thank you. I hope
Thank
you.
you.
You certainly.
Thanks again.